The 19th, early 20th century was very repressive in terms of all sorts of LGBT plus identities. So being gay was illegal. Trans people in general were completely invisible. And then as we moved through the early 20th century, we began to actually see people starting to undergo modern medical transition. And Michael Dillon was one of those. He wasn't a Bristol native, but he came to live in Bristol just before the start of the Second World War. He'd got an Oxford degree. He was working at a medical laboratory in South Gloucestershire. And he learned about a doctor in Bristol called George Foss, who had been experimenting with a new drug called testosterone. And Foss was trying to treat women in Bristol with testosterone. And of course, testosterone did what it does. It started to give facial hair and muscle bulk and causes the voice to break and things. And these women he was treating were deeply unhappy about this. And Michael Dillon went to see Foss and said, you know, those side effects that this testosterone has on women, I'd like some of that. Now, Dillon at the time was obviously still living as a woman, but even in his time at Oxford, he dressed in a very masculine fashion. He kept his hair cut short and so on. His big name in the Oxford ladies rowing team, and still kept up the rowing when he came to Bristol. So he was presenting in a very masculine way for a woman, and he felt that by taking testosterone that would enable him to present in a much more masculine way and perhaps live socially as a man. Dillon was lucky enough to meet somebody who was a plastic surgeon. This was a chap called Harold Gillis, later Sir Harold, who was a New Zealander, and he was the world's top expert in plastic surgery. So Dillon met Gillis, and Gillis thought that it would be an interesting thing to do to try to create a penis through plastic surgery. Never been done before, as far as anybody knew. It took an awful lot of experimentation, 13 separate operations in total, which must have been fairly horrendous for poor Dillon, but there it was. This was the first ever creation of a phallus by plastic surgery in the world, from somebody who was living in Bristol when he started it out. So we have a very proud place in trans history.